So just from personal experience, I've noticed some very common tactics that narcissists use that are, for the most part, untalked about. I've heard maybe two or three of these kind of mentioned here and there, but others that I've never ever mentioned. One is very, very specific. Someone just left a comment that her ex-husband used to claim ADHD in the video I made recently about friends, narcissistic friends. And this is a common one that I've seen used quite a bit because it's a great, ready excuse for not paying attention to you. You know, narcissists love to expect and demand your undivided attention. But when you start to speak, all of a sudden, they're not paying attention. Another one in the similar vein is when they're driving, just totally not paying attention to you. And all of a sudden, they have to check rear view mirrors all the time, fix the center rear view mirror. Another similar one is checking their watch. Kind of like, you're boring me, Oh, I gotta get going. I might be primping. All of a sudden they have to pay attention to everything, make sure they're nice and set to go. It's all about ignoring you. Another one in that vein is cutting you off, when you talk. So there'll be a long silence, and right when you start to say something, all of a sudden they talk over you. You get two or three words into it. It's almost like they prepare something. Okay, as soon as he starts to talk, I'm going to mention this. That's kind of what it seems like. Now, this one is the very, very rare one that only I have noticed. Okay, so 2 years now, I've been having to live with roommates. And a lot of these individuals have been narcissistic. So you only have your room space and you share the common space. And out of consideration, you try not to go into the kitchen and make a lot of noise more than necessary. But I love making my morning coffee, and I go in a minimum of twice a day to prepare my dog's food. And it's homemade food, so that takes a little while. So even if I'm not going in for any reason other than myself, there's a few times I'm in there. I love ice water, so I'm going in there to get ice out of the freezer. So I don't like some of these individuals spend a whole hour or two making a meal, like a big meal that they put a lot into Tupperware, and they eat some that night. But I go in little bits here and there regularly. I've had several of these roommates start sneezing every time I go into the kitchen. And obviously, no one sneezes every time you go in the kitchen. But it's a way to say, you're going in the kitchen too much. I don't appreciate you always in the kitchen. But like I said, I go in there for a minute, just in and out usually, except for the dog's food takes a little bit. So isn't that strange? It's just a way of saying, I'm here too, and making fake sneezes. It's bizarre. This one I haven't really heard mentioned, I don't think, but practicing different expressions in the mirror. The number one practiced expression is a sincere looking smile. But you'll also see them practicing looks of disapproval, looks of surprise. And now this is something they don't want you to see them doing. But so it's someone you obviously have to live with to pick up on this. Practicing the sexy look, kind of the smoldering sexy look. Questioning look, usually involving the one raised eyebrow, or their character that they're presently copying, a character from a movie. They'll do this. You know, you might have a kid that's raised in Southern California starts taking on the persona and the accent of a Brooklyn mob boss. Pretty bizarre, I know, but this is what they do. Reminds me of Brady Bunch. One of the boys, pork chops and applesauce. He starts copying Humphrey Bogart saying that, and it's kind of that bizarre. Okay, the chaos in the living space is extremely common, but sometimes just to be able to be somewhat acceptable if people come over, it'll be centralized in the bedroom. So the bedroom will be off limits because it's really, really messy, and or there's hoarding going on to where there's just little pathways, you know, like a pathway simply from the door to the bed and then from the bed to the bathroom. And oh, they won't let you see that. No. I had a girlfriend that the whole time I dated her, I never once was allowed upstairs where all the bedrooms were, claiming athletic hobbies that they don't actually partake in. So that false persona, as you know, is everything. And sometimes they like to spice it up a little bit. Yeah, I'm a hang glider. I'm a rock climber. You know, I was champion rock climber in my district, or you know, whatever. So I already mentioned actual copying movie characters. That's bizarre. Quickly changing dress. So from one trend or style to another. So this is a little pronounced, but you might have something like a rapper style, and then it kind of just quickly changes into cowboy western. And, you know, you're kind of just amazed that they don't think people will think that's a little bit strange. But so is copying the accent of a Brooklyn mob boss, you know, kind of strange. But they think they can pull off anything because they have this false sense of being super special, and that they're so good at pulling the wool over people's eyes that people will just accept they are a Brooklyn mob boss. You know, I mean, that's really that false ego, you know, and belief in really being so good that they can just copy a character off the TV and become that character. So there's a bit of detachment from reality with these individuals. And simply stating you have ADHD when there's no diagnosis or anything like that, and yet they're very in touch with their attention when they're talking and telling a story, but all of a sudden they have full-blown ADHD the minute you start talking, you know, and that you're not going to pick up on that, you know, that just always being able to believe that they can always get away with just about anything because they are so much smarter and so much better than everyone else. So there you have some of the untalked about common tactics of narcs. But, you know, the one that motivated this was the sneezing, because that's really weird. You know, different people using that same tactic about sneezing whenever I go into the kitchen. That's weird. Anyways, hope you found it interesting.